Look at me. What you perceive creates an illusion of who I am.
You don't know me.
You don't know me.
These arms hold the weight of my ambition. These hands craft efficiency. I build machines that gather light and give energy to my needs. Solar panels that power to make our future green.
You don't know me.
You just see me. My fingers are on the pulse of man's quest. I build robotics to inform what's next. In these innovations lie our success.
You don't know me.
I will belong to no limits. I code, I build, I create, I make.
You don't know me.
You don't know me.
You don't know me.
But you will.
Today on Black Twitter Talk, Gabrielle Union slaps BET with a $3 million lawsuit. Twitter teaches us what a doctor looks like, and we talk Michelle's new biopic, Surviving Compton. Stay tuned. Hey guys. We are still in love with that Solange album.
Yes, it's everything,
It
okay?
is. If you haven't listened to it, where have you been? Go check it out.
Do
It's so
yourself a
good.
favor.
It's so good. I'm your host, Angie Skates. Thanks for tuning in. You can find me on Twitter at Angie_Skates.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Kales. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at The Urban Gypsy LA.
And you can find us right here in the studio, jamming out to
Black Twitter
Solange.
Talk.
Hey. Let's get into it. My girl, Gabrielle Union. And my favorite show on BET. It's one of the highest ranking shows on the network, Being Mary Jane. Mara Brockett-Kill left the show in April, earlier this year, and we're already facing its first hurdles without her and her production company being involved with the show. Okay, so here's what's happening. Gabby has a contract where she is only supposed to do 13 episodes per season max, right?
Yes.
And the new production company, Will Packard, who is the executive producer, there's a new showrunner. Her name is Erica Sheldon Kodish. So they basically want her to do 2 seasons in one, 10 episodes. You know, and I'm not opposed to it as a viewer because I feel like sometimes the seasons are a little short for the shows that I love. Usually we get like a 22 episode run for a lot of other shows, right? In that format.
I don't need it.
I want it, but like if it's gonna mess up the whole show, like BET, let's figure this out, right?
That's my thing. I feel like the formula for Being Mary Jane has worked because it is my favorite show. I think it's my favorite show, period.
It's so well done.
Yes. I don't know if you guys seen it. It's about Mary Jane. She's a newscaster journalist, and she's a single black woman, but she has everything else. She has issues with her family and men, a lot of issues with men, but it's her, and then her producer is this feisty, I don't know if I should call her feisty, but I love her. She's a Latina producer, and it's just a really great show. We don't see this successful black woman character in this capacity. She has all these successful black women friends, you know? So I love the show, and I'm okay with 10 to 13 episodes as long as it's done well. But I feel like by trying to jam pack it into one, this is my fear. When BET took on The Game from Mara Brockett-Kill, they screwed it up.
Yeah, it went all the way down.
So I'm thinking, like, why change was working already?
I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm getting over a cold. Yeah, I think that this is not a good sign. And I really want it to work out for the network. I think that what she wants ultimately is to be able to have that freedom to go work on movies, right?
Right.
I heard a rumor that she makes $150K per episode. And the contractually she's supposed to get a raise, an increase for every season. So they're trying to kind of,
cut corners.
Yeah, to get her out of her raise. And I read somewhere else too that Drew Barrymore, she makes $350,000 per episode for some series called Santa Clarita Diet. I don't even know what that is. Me either. But like, I'm not opposed to Gabby getting her money, and I want her to be able to get what she needs. But BET, come on, they released a statement recently, and they said that they hold her in the highest esteem, and they feel strongly that contractually they are well within their rights, and they are committed to reaching a swift and positive resolution in this matter.
Well, give her raise then. If you're gonna shoot them all in one and do one big old season, then just cut her a higher check once we get past that 13 episode mark.
I said, why don't we just bump her up to that $500K per episode?
I think it's worth it.
I think so too.
Like,
it's the highest rated show. It's very well done.
They have some really good looking black men on there, good looking black women.
The soundtrack, the music supervisor is so good. Gabrielle looks good.
She kills the character too.
It's a good show. I hope they figure it out.
We'll see. We'll stay tuned once it airs and see if it's as good without Mara on the team.
I don't know. We'll see. Because the other show that Will Packer did, the one with Nia Long and Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck.
Yeah, that got canceled like 2 episodes
I actually
in.
liked it.
I liked it too. It was cute.
It was cute to
but
me.
That was a Will Packer production too.
It was.
And it folded up, so I don't know.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know how. I don't know. We'll see.
So I don't know if you guys have heard, but Twitter has a trending hashtag, and it is "What a Doctor Looks Like." And what sparked this whole hashtag was there was a woman on a Delta flight. She was coming from Detroit, flying from Detroit into Minneapolis. She's an OBGYN. Her name is Dr. Tamika Cross.
I like the way that sounds.
Tamika Cross. Dr. Tamika. Doctor. Put the doctor on that,
okay.
boo. Anyway, so she was on a flight, and one of the passengers I'm talking weird. I have a frog in my throat. I'm sick. Anyway, one of the passengers fell ill, and they were calling for a doctor, a physician on board. She raised her hand, and the flight attendant, she said something really demeaning to her. She said, "Oh no, sweetie, put your hand down. We are looking for actual doctors."
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then so or nurses, or anyway, that's crazy. Like, I'm speechless. Like, I can't even imagine. Actually, I can, but anyway. So there's another physician on board. He's a white man. And he goes, and the flight attendant accepts the help from him, saying, "Oh, we've seen his credentials."
But he didn't show them anything.
His credentials is what, his white man self.
I don't know.
Anyway,
she just felt more comfortable with him, supposedly.
Yeah, so she didn't get an opportunity to help, but then apparently the flight attendant came back and was asking her questions after the fact and had apologized to her, but she was already pissed off at that point.
Yeah, like she wanted her now to monitor the vitals, basically. Like, almost do what a nurse would do.
Yeah.
Like, you could do that, but
you could be a nurse, but you can't be the doctor.
Right.
So Twitter took that whole situation to task, and we kind of celebrated what a doctor looks like, because we are breaking outside of those stereotypes. And it was so many pictures of beautiful black women doctors, and with their naturals and their locks and
pressed hair, like, all
and their
different
scrubs,
shades, all different sizes, like, just out here doing it.
Like, what does a doctor look like to you now? And Delta has still not released a statement. They haven't said anything.
I enjoyed it though, because I'm well aware that there are black doctors out there. It was good to see it though, like, to be able to scroll through a timeline and see us, because we see ourselves in the entertainment industry a lot. We see ourselves in all these different roles, but we don't celebrate black doctors like that.
No, but then I think also in our day-to-day lives in black culture, we do see that is the norm. Black doctors and black lawyers, like, that's a part of our everyday life. Black excellence. And I think that these images in the media, they're oversaturated. We're overrepresented as drug dealers and gangsters and prostitutes
and strippers,
and that's not real. That's not real life.
And it's like, when we go to the doctor, we looking for the black woman doctor, because I don't want man.
I don't want. First of all, I don't want a man doctor at all. And if I could find a sister as a doctor, ooh,
that's the come up.
I'm so sick. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm coughing.
It's okay,
all over
girl.
the place.
We all get a cough here and there,
but not on the microphone though. That's so gross. But anyway, that made me happy. If you haven't taken a look at that hashtag, go check it out.
What is it again?
It is hashtag what a doctor looks like. It's not what you think. Have you guys seen the Michelet biopic that aired on Lifetime last night?
I saw half of it.
Surviving Compton. They did. I think Michelet was actually in the studio last week or the week before that. So if you haven't seen the BHL show, The Beat, I think she did a whole interview on that. Check that out for sure.
So I saw half of it. I saw right up until where she's about to start dating Suge. Good night. And it was you need water?
I'm alright.
And I was just appalled. Okay, I didn't know. I had no idea.
You had no idea. I think what happened for me is like I'm on the cusp of being an old broad and a millennial. So I am coming up in the hip hop industry during that time. I was very well aware of the accusations against Dr. Dre and just even hip hop culture in general. I remember the journalist D. Barnes that he beat up in a public situation for an interview that she did. I think it was in the early 90s with Ice Cube, and this was after he had departed from NWA. And I had heard allegations of Dre and Michelet and how abusive he was. So this is not news to me.
It was news to me. I mean, honestly, the first time I heard about it was when Michelet was on what's that show, R&B Divas or whatever. And she would talk about it, and it still didn't really like click to me. It was like, dang, I didn't know that. And then obviously when Straight Outta Compton came out, which is also one of my favorite movies, I thought it was done really well.
It was.
They got a lot of backlash because they didn't include that part.
Black women from that whole come up in that hip hop era.
But how did I not know that Michelet is like the little Kim to Notorious? You know what I'm saying? It's like, how do you just take her, even if you don't go into depth about their relationship and the abuse, how do we not have her character at all in the movie? That made absolutely no sense.
They put on up a cease and desist for the movie because, thank you so much. Awesome. Oh my God, I feel special. They put up a cease and desist because I guess Dre doesn't want these allegations coming out. He obviously didn't want that as part of the narrative in the film because it doesn't make him look good at all. But I think the more that they run away and hide from these accusations, the more punk and gross and just ugh.
Yeah, it looked disgusting because it was really bad. Like the way, I've only seen the first half, like I said, and the way Dre is portrayed, he reminds me of Suge Knight, and I had no idea that he was evil like that.
I think it's interesting that the way that Suge is depicted in the movie, it's like he's the savior. Like he is the softer side of that whole situation, and Dre is depicted as the monster when we all know how
Suge
crazy
is like a demon.
Yeah, man, he's real
scary.
Yeah, he's real evil.
But she even says that when she first met him, she felt that vibe from Suge. But at the same time, he did come and save her because Dre was just so dark and ugly and going through whatever he was going through. And I just think it's crazy that we didn't even see her at all in Straight Outta Compton. And then it made me think too. You know, we talk.
What you think, girl?
you know, we be talking about the abuse that happens with black men and black women, and how do other black men that are around that men, like
just
kind of let it
happen.
happen. So we kind of see in Michelet's movie that they said stuff. But I feel like they should have whooped his ass. The way he was hitting her in front of them, they should have whooped his ass. They should have been straight up fighting. Somebody should have died. Like, because it was just that bad.
Apparently Eazy-E and Jerry Heller did try to get her out of that situation. But I feel you, they didn't try hard enough.
Yeah, like they show that like they're trying to like talk her into leaving, but she wouldn't. They would kind of try to stand up to Dre, but they couldn't. And Straight Outta Compton, they make Dre look like he's so sweet,
pristine,
he's
and
like
he's a good guy.
And then it makes me wonder, because they show that scene in Straight Outta Compton when Dre leaves Suge in Death Row Records. Was that because Suge was a bad guy, or was it because Suge was now with Michelet?
I don't know.
Because they made it seem like, oh, Dr. Dre is so good and holy, so he can't mess with Suge anymore.
So we all know Dr. Dre is not good or holy. And a lot of people on Twitter didn't even realize, like, they had never heard this side of it because they're too young. So I'm grateful that Michelet had the courage to tell this story. And one thing that I thought was interesting about this documentary, they had a woman writer, they had a woman director, they had a woman editor.
Oh, they did?
Yes, it was very important for Michelet to not have her story interpreted by men, but told by women from a woman's perspective. And I think it shows. I haven't seen the whole thing yet, but I'm really interested. I've heard a lot of good reviews from my Black Twitter fams. A lot of the ashy Twitters. I didn't say that out loud, did I? Yes, I did, because y'all ashy. They didn't like it. They didn't like that depiction of hip-hop, and they didn't like that depiction of their beloved Dr. Dre. But this is real, and I think that when you have an entire art form that was given birth through something that is tied to Black culture that, you know, women experience too, when you're as exclusive and as violent towards us as we are, I feel like you put yourself in this little bubble, this little hole that doesn't really allow you know, evolution of that art form in a lot of ways.
Because we're not addressing it.
No.
Yeah, because even in the movie, there's a part, because Miss Chalet makes appearances and she's kind of narrating the story. So there's a point where she basically says that, you know, not hip hop, I think she more so specifies rap and how it gives a voice to these men, but it silences the woman, and how she didn't have a voice anymore. And it's like crazy because we're watching her in this strong, beautiful singing voice that she has, and she was saying that rap, it's about expressing this rage, and that a lot of the rage, they take it out on the women, and we don't discuss that, and it's evident. And the other thing we see too is, because you always wonder why women deal with abuse, and why didn't she leave, and that's the question. And we see that she was raised in that. Her grandmother told her, if a man hits you, that's because his fist is reacting faster than his brain, so you better fix it. You figure out what you did wrong and don't do it again. So that, and they literally tell her that when she's like 3 years old, 4 years old, and she's seeing other women get beat, and they're saying like that's the
everyday thing. And I thought it was interesting that she said that she had purposefully shown this film to her daughter, that I believe that she shares with Suge Knight. But her son that she has with Dre hasn't seen it yet. And I feel like there's a part of her that still wants to protect the image of this man, her son's father, but at the same time, he got to know the truth too.
That's the thing. We keep trying to protect them and hide it and not tell the men the truth, but they're part of the ones that need to know more so, because they need to make sure that they're right within themselves, that they don't act that way.
And y'all need to check each other. Like, because a lot of times the things that we say as Black women falls on deaf ears when it comes to us critiquing or offering our opinion or our experience to Black men. But if other Black men were to step in, like Eazy-E, come at them directly, like all these gangster, real hard men, and y'all just
like y'all shoot each other over other issues. Somebody should have was out of line.
It was crazy. But I'm really happy that this film happened, and I'm glad that Sony produced it and that they still aired it. Even though that there was a cease and desist, they tried not to get the story told. Kudos to you, Miss Chalet.
And another thing I just want to point out too, and another one. It made me think about, especially with the line where she says rap silences women, it made me think about shows like R&B Divas and Basketball Wives and Hip Hop, Love and Hip Hop or whatever.
That show jam.
It's not my jam. Don't play me like that. I do watch it here and there, though, because I like to keep up with what's going on.
She watch it all the time.
No, I don't. I haven't watched it in a while, actually.
All right.
But my point being is, like, we're talking about how these women are silenced. And so it sucks because the show spends a lot of time on highlighting the drama between these women, because that's what gets them the ratings. But it's also makes me realize again how much this show gives these women a platform, give them a voice, give them income that otherwise they were getting from the men that they were with that were abusive, whether mentally, emotionally, or physically. And had we not had a show like R&B Divas, would Miss Chalet been in a position to tell this story? Because she wouldn't have necessarily been relevant to this time if she didn't have that platform. So
she relevant to me,
you, but
I still want to know what's in your heart, girl. What's in the
something in my heart?
Like, did we find out what was in her heart in the movie?
Honestly, I think she had just got her butt beat, and he's choking her in the studio, making her sing that song, telling her if you don't sing it right, really on some Ike and Tina Turner type stuff.
That's what it reminds me of.
That's
a lot of people
what it looked like.
Keep contrasting that relationship with Ike and Tina to Dre and Miss Chalet.
It was just like that. Like,
damn.
So she wasn't even feeling that song when she sung it.
Oh, well, shoot. I'm feeling it here 20 years later.
That's the classic.
Don't. Did I tell everybody how old I am? Anyway.
You still fine, girl.
I know. I'm fine.
Sorry.
Michelle Obama. Did you guys see the speech that she made in response to, well, actually it wasn't in response to Donald Trump's sexual allegations, but she was giving a speech at the New Hampshire rally or primaries or whatever in support of Hillary Clinton, and she said that it was on her heart that she could not speak on this. So she had a very emotional speech that she did. It was about half an hour where she talks about how women and girls are treated in society, and the poor that they are treated. That's a reflection of the society that we live in. And she went in on Donald Trump.
She did. It was a very passionate speech, and to me it kind of correlates what we were just talking about with Michelle and stuff. It's like there's this whole culture of treating women in this way, and we have this guy running for president that supports that culture.
Like, he brags about sexually assaulting women, and when has that ever been okay for men in general, for decent men in general? But he's running for president, like the highest office of our country, and people are still rallying to defend him and support his comments and the things that he said. I don't get it. Like, I cannot understand how it has even gotten this far. Like, I cannot take him serious as a person, as a candidate. I can't listen to him. Like, he's a joke to me.
He's a huge joke, and it makes me wonder, because we tear down Nate Parker, and he's doing this film. We tear down Bill Cosby. We tear down any man that has some type of history with this rape and all these rape culture. And it's like, and we have this man who basically supports that and has lived that, and he's running for president. Like, how did we even get this
and
far?
Openly defends it. Like, it's okay, it's just what we talk about in the locker room.
And it's scary to think that there are still people that are supportive of him in light of this information. I was talking to Dad and Mom, because, you know, they stay with the politics on TV, and he kind of said something, and I'm like, dang, that's true. Like, it kind of, the fact that it's two ways you could look at it. The fact that he has gotten this far and there's still like a neck and neck run between him and Hillary is kind of tells you how like whack Hillary is, in a sense, because for him to be this blatantly like ridiculous, but it's still so close that he could possibly become president. It lets you know that as a candidate that Hillary is not that strong in her campaign to like just squash him.
We know that, but I think part of her inability to squash him stems from the fact that she's a woman, and regardless of her political stance or how strong she is as a candidate, they hate women.
And that is the other side of it that I was gonna say, that it lets you know how much that they must actually hate the idea of a woman being in that, having that much power and being in that position. Like, it's crazy.
I'm gonna step in a little bit here, because I think that you're right about a lot of conservatives being a little bit against that, but I don't think the majority are against Hillary because of her being a woman. I think if you had taken any other Republican candidate that was, or taken any other Democratic candidate that was a woman that did not have the history with like shady dealings that Hillary had, I think that person would have won very, very easily over Trump. I think it's very telling that somebody who's as idiotic as Trump can't, like, there's no reason that somebody like Hillary has more than 20 years in political experience can't go into a debate and absolutely rip Trump to shreds.
That's true.
It doesn't make sense that anyone would leave any debate thinking that Hillary didn't win at all when she has so much experience. It's only because you have so many leaked things, you have so much shadiness, you have so many things where you search her name and corrupt, and so many things pop up. It's kind of terrifying to anyone, either left or right. It's just when you compare her to somebody just as ground-shakingly bad of a candidate as Trump, you're just kind of left with no other choice.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm not happy about having to vote for Hillary. I'm not happy with either of the choices.
Yeah.
I think they're friends. I think they go home and they probably have banter in the locker room together. I don't know what they do.
And that's what we're saying. Like, that's the whole thing. The fact that it's still neck and neck, lets us see that like Hillary is just as weak of a choice.
candidate,
Like
yeah.
we're coming in. It's like a lose-lose. No matter how you look at it, it's not a good look.
It's
I,
not.
I guarantee you that if this election was Michelle Obama versus Trump,
Woo.
he would have
Oh.
been ripped to shreds within an hour, like within the first
20
debate.
minutes.
I agree.
Because it just the first lady has so many people on her side from both sides both
True.
sides that when you're looking at this, I think this is Hillary's last shot.
Yeah.
Even if she wins, I feel like if Michelle ran against her in 4 years, she'd be taken out of office by Michelle. Like
That would be nice to have Michelle on the ticket.
For sure.
I think so. Those are some great points, Steve.
Yes.
Thanks. I think that it's still important for us to vote.
For sure.
I think that regardless of how we feel personally about either candidate, I think your voice is necessary in the polls coming up next month. And you gotta go vote. Whoever you vote for, go vote, but don't vote for Trump.
yeah, vote November 28th.
So Beyonce puts on a whole benefit concert with Tidal. They streamed it live on Tidal. I watched some of it last night. But it was in collaboration with a nonprofit called Robin Hood, who works with different organizations to help the poor people in New York specifically. And I think one of the other goals for this benefit concert was to get young people inspired to vote. Some of the lineup was Lauryn Hill, Alicia Keys, and Nicki Minaj, and they all had very political things to say in their own unique voices.
Right.
And I don't know. Did you watch any of it?
I didn't watch the whole thing. I did watch some clips. I still haven't gotten fully on the Tidal wave. They haven't gotten me to the point where it's like makes me feel easy to access their videos. But I did watch like when Beyonce was performing. I guess her ear was bleeding and she wipes it and keeps going. And then I saw the portion. That's what I saw.
That's the news.
That was the news I saw that came up. And then I also saw Nicki Minaj when she was going in about having a strong woman on your team, unlike Melania. How do you say Melania Trump? She was like, good luck if you get stuck with a woman like that, because basically every man needs a strong woman behind him.
Yeah. And she was pretty much saying, go vote. Just don't vote for Trump, in her very colorful language that she uses. Another thing that I thought was groundbreaking was the fact that Nicki Minaj cannot twerk with all of that cake. Like, and I know it's fake cake, but girl,
when your cake is that fake, you can't twerk, okay? Her cake is way too fake.
Like, I don't know what she was doing.
I don't even think she had fat transfer. It looks like she has implants, and I feel like if you get implants, you can't really twerk because it's not real meat.
I don't know.
Shake.
She just looked like she was just shaking her abdomen. She looked stupid, but
I didn't see that part.
I appreciate the message and the intent behind this concert to inspire young people to vote, because it absolutely matters. And regardless of if you are conscious of it or not, they shape legislation. They shape how we live our lives ultimately, and it does affect us on a lot of different levels.
I think it's interesting though, because when Obama was running for president, we had like people like Diddy going hard with the vote or die, and now he kind of seems like he's not really tripping off of voting or encouraging people to vote. I don't know if maybe as of late that has changed. So I think it's interesting now that the women in the industry are coming together, because the men have kind of been like, we're not really messing with Hillary, so we don't care as much.
Well, that poses a interesting question to you ladies. I want to ask you too, because if this election, if you take the demographic for this election and you reverse it, would you still be encouraging people to vote? Because that's something Mike Rowe, who did Dirty Jobs, he released an article because somebody asked him, would you encourage people to vote? And he said, no, I will not encourage people to vote, because I feel like the people who are educated and the people who understand what they're voting for will already go out and vote, and I don't want my life being determined by people who are voting on issues that they don't understand. So if you're looking at today's day and age, you're encouraging millions upon millions of people who don't understand the system to vote, and yes, it's because celebrities are pushing it towards Hillary, but what if it was opposite? What if we were encouraging millions of people to vote for Trump in this election? Would you still be encouraging everybody to go out and vote?
I think in a way, the way that Trump has the media, we are encouraging people to go vote for Trump. So my answer to that is yes, absolutely. Especially for the Black community, considering our history in this country, and how at one point we weren't even allowed to vote. And again, a lot of people, I think, are educated. I just think that it's taken for granted because the likability of the candidates that we have before us, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's a situation where you just go vote blindly. I think it's more so encouraging
people
you
to do the work,
use your mind, think about it, go do some research, get the information and make some informed decisions, because it's going to affect you for the next 4, possibly 8 years, depending on how, or for a lifetime, because we're still recovering from stuff that happened under Bill Clinton's presidency and Reagan and Nixon and everybody. So I think it's important to know. I think Kerry Washington has said once before, a lot of us don't care about politics, but we need to, because politics cares about us. Like, they make decisions that affect us.
Yeah, so not to just go out and vote blindly, but to educate yourself on not just the presidential candidates, but there's other things on the bill that are important and quintessential to our development as a country, as Americans. And it's not just, pick a candidate. It's educate yourself on the politics, because they do affect you in your everyday life. And yeah, go vote.
Mm-hmm. And let us know, like, leave in the comments some things that you guys think are important, that you guys are voting for, that is important, Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's keep the discussion going.
That was awesome. This was a good show, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Join us next week. I'm your host, Angie Skates. You can find me on Twitter at Angie_Skates.
And I'm Kelly Skates. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at The Urban Gypsy LA.
And the ominous voice is Stephen Lemieux. Thanks, Stephen.
Yes, for chiming in.
From executives Keven Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in. The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.